Alright guys, so in the spirit of I just had spring break and didn't do a thing for you guys or make any videos, I'm going to do a double video upload today. So the second video is one I've been planning to do for a while, but I just never really got around to it because... Anyway, we're getting into it. This is the OODA cycle. It was developed by John Boyd, who was a military strategist who first started out his career as a pilot in the Vietnam War, but that's not really important. If you want to learn more about him, I'll have some links in the description, including a very good article written by The Art of Manliness. So if you want to go check out some really cool stuff and some more in-depth explanations of this, definitely go check that link out. But we're just going to run through the beginner's guide, kind of the rookie version here, the simplified, I don't want to say watered down, but definitely simplified version. So, what is the OODA cycle? The OODA cycle is a decision-making thought process, basically. So it consists of 4 separate parts. Your O, O, D, and A. Each of those stand for different things. So you have your first one, which is observe. We're going to take this and put this directly into the context of gaming. So this is your audio and visual input. Audio is very important, and I'll get back into that later. The next one is orient, and this is like your game knowledge and your game sense, so to say. The next one, the D, is decide, and this is decide what you're gonna do. Then act is you do that thing. For the decide and the act, there is feedback that's going back into observe, because observations can also be observations about your past encounters with people. So it's not necessarily just what you see and what you hear, it's what you see happening as well. So it's not just like, oh, I see a person there, it's, oh, I see a person there and I saw them there previously as well. So going back in depth with the first one, your observations, this is anything that you see or hear. I don't just mean see, like I see that color right there of that poster is red. That is, yes, you are seeing that, but that's not the only thing you can see. You can see that a certain opponent on the enemy team consistently goes a certain route to the point, or consistently targets X character before you, or targets you before X character. Just different things that you can see and observe and take into account to fuel your decision making. The next one is what you hear. This one is fairly similar. It just gives you an additional way to perceive the world. Fun fact of the day, most people have a visual reaction time of about 50 milliseconds, but an audio reaction time of about 17 milliseconds. So if you really start listening to those cues, you can usually cut down your reaction time by more than 50%, which is huge. So start paying attention to those audio cues. I'll have another video about that later, so subscribe if you want to see that at some point, and then pester me in the comments for it. So that's your observe. The next step is to orient all your observations. Take the information that you just gathered and kind of compare notes with what you already knew, such as what characters are good at. So like if you see Farah in a closed room downstairs next to a point, then you know certain things about it. It tells you more than just, oh, there's a fair there. It tells you that this fair isn't really good, because if they were, they would know that that is a bad place for a fair to be. So just compare notes between what you see and what you already know from either previous experiences before that game you're playing, that round you're playing, or previous experiences from that round, such as when this character is there, they're probably about to ult and I should run somewhere safe. The next thing to do is take all that information, all those notes, all the compiled everything from comparing your notes between what you just barely saw and what you already knew, and make a decision on it. Make your decision, and then that decision actually goes back as input, because you can remember, oh, I decided this last time if you run into this situation again, and it either worked or it didn't, so you can change your decision making appropriately. The next thing to do is go ahead and act. Follow up on that decision. This is the part that most people try to focus on too much, and it really is one of the least important parts. It's more important to have the other 3 steps down than this one. This is what really makes the difference in top level play, because there gets a point where everyone is just pretty much that good, unless there's some god tier player. who just does so much better, but usually that isn't by sheer skill, it's by game sense and awareness and all these other things, all the decision making that helps you excel, not just your raw aim, because raw aim will only get you so far. So the act is your raw aim part. If you're doing everything else and in theory you should be winning every single fight, then go ahead and work on your aim, your mechanical skills. Don't focus about this too much when you're practicing using this loop, because it will just frustrate you if you focus on it too much and you can't line up that perfect headshot as Widowmaker. But then again, if you can't line up that perfect shot as Widowmaker, maybe try using this on a different character. Who knows, it might work better there. So that's a brief breakdown of the OODA cycle and each of the parts of it. So what does this mean exactly? And why do you want to do this? Naturally, everyone does this already for themselves. You're sitting there, you see things, you react to those things, and you act on other things that you've seen before, and so on. Usually it is better to act than to react, which is why you want to not just run one of these loops for yourself like you normally unconsciously do, but also think about this for the enemy. Think about where they've seen you, where they've seen other teammates, what your teammates are doing to certain teammates, and then try to run them for your teammates as well, so you can try to keep your healers safe, plan where they're going to run to, all these different things, and suddenly you can actually see where people are going to go before they do if you can run these faster than them. If you think about things that someone else isn't thinking about, like what they're doing for example, you can oftentimes gain a huge advantage and be able to take them out before this fight even starts, or very quickly in the fight to the point where it just snowballs incredibly fast and leads your team to the win. So I hope this was helpful and informational. If it was, go ahead and use it, I guess. I don't know. Have a great day, guys. I will see you in the next one. Peace out.